Hey, welcome back to the Awesome Life Success podcast. And this is where we help women inspire and empower women to find their true joy and be prosperous doing it, being able to do what they absolutely love doing, what fills their heart with joy. And that's what it's all about, filling your heart with joy so that you can have an awesome life. I'm Karen Stultz, your host for the Awesome Life podcast, six-figure mindset mentor and developer of the heart energy techniques to clear any of those blocks that are keeping you from living that awesome life. And today I am so excited to have, all right, let me pronounce it, Nicole Vilaca.
Yes.
Yay! Nicole is a digital mentor. She helps female entrepreneurs who didn't grow up in the digital age with the technology and the websites and all of the apps that we're using today. And she understands how to use them, and she helps other women in industry learn how to become a digital marketer, a digital business owner, and how to really show up in their business online. And I can tell you from personal experience that Nicole is phenomenal, helping wherever you are, whether you're just beginning or whether you know some tech, but you don't know all of the platforms. She is amazing. She actually works with social media, marketing, web creation, and everything in between. And if you are ready to understand the digital world and optimize your business presence, Nicole is your lady. So welcome, Nicole. But how, I have to ask you right off the bat, how did you get into digital marketing? I mean, was this your entire life to begin with?
Yes. So first of all, thank you for having me here. I'm very honored to be here speaking with you. But that is a great question to just kick it off. So I actually never thought that I would be on this path, and I love it. And I'm so grateful for what I do and that I got myself here. But I really never thought that this is a path that I would be on, something that I ever envisioned when I was a little bit younger that I would be here. So to kind of dial it back and start at the beginning, from as long as I can remember, I wanted to work in a corporate office job. And that was always the dream for me. I grew up in a very small town of about 1,000 people. I'm from Canada originally. I haven't lived there in quite some time, but I grew up there, and it was in a very small town. And Toronto, a big city, was about 2 hours away. So for me, the dream was always to live in a big city and have that hustle and bustle. I never really resonated with that country lifestyle that I grew up in. So honestly, for as long as I can remember, I just wanted a corporate office job. I went through high school and university, and after university, just envisioning, oh my gosh, my life will be amazing if I just get this job. And it was all that I wanted. And then as life always works this way, I ended up getting a corporate office job, not in Toronto. So it wasn't even the full dream that I always wanted, but it was a corporate office job, the 9 to 5. I was an executive assistant, which really highlighted my skills, and I was great at it. Me and the CEO of the company worked amazingly together. But even with almost everything except, I guess, the location being perfect, I eventually got a little bit restless. And after only about a year and a half in that role, I was like, oh my gosh, I can't do this for the rest of my life. And I think, honestly, I think every female entrepreneur who has a business online or a physical business, we have been there. You've said to yourself, this is not something that I want to do for the rest of my life, especially when I had just been starting out my corporate in quotations. And I was like, I can't do this. It's been a year and a half. I can't sit at this desk or any other desk for the rest of my life. And I wasn't even in my dream city. And so that kind of got me thinking. And I was like, what else could I possibly do? And I knew I had big dreams and I wanted to do something big and exciting. And I knew that it wasn't going to be handed to me. It was something that I had to actually make happen myself. So then I started asking myself, what can I do to achieve this end goal that I want of a life that I actually want and I'm excited to live? And so for me, that ended up being moving halfway across the world to China, where I was working in China for quite a few years. But honestly, the whole intent of going to China was because I wanted to start something of my own. At the time, I didn't know what I wanted, but it was also, and funnily enough, it was also due to finances and cost of living. And that was something that I was thinking long term about. That's something that I've always been interested in, which isn't really an aspect of my business, but just kind of more on a personal note. That was something that I knew I didn't want to live in such a small town, even that was expensive. And so I knew that I needed to make that change. So China seemed like the perfect option for me for having a good work-life balance, making good money, being able to work on something of my own as well. And so I up and left Canada and went to China. And it's funny.
Excuse me, did you work in corporate when you went to China? I mean, how did you get visas and all of that to get to China?
Yeah, good question. So I was actually teaching for a little while in China, that was not my field. I was never a trained teacher. So I knew, and I guess it's a good thing that you bring this up because it was never something I was passionate about. And it was kind of just a means to an end. I knew that it wasn't going to be something that I was going to be doing forever. And I think when you are following your dreams, a lot of the time you need to kind of put it on, not on pause, but you see it as the end goal, but there's something that you need to do to actually sustain yourself now and to get yourself to where you want to be, which was I didn't want to be in Canada. And in order to, yes, get a visa and to live somewhere else, fairly hassle-free at the time. This was way before COVID. I had to take a job that I wasn't the most passionate about, but that also kind of lit the fire under my butt, so to speak, that I knew I needed to find something else that I was passionate about and do something else that I could actually help people with and feel fulfilled. Because for me, teaching was not that. I know it is for a lot of people, and that's amazing if you found that passion of yours, but it never was for me.
So keeping that visa now, I mean, you had a visa to teach. Is there an issue for doing that now? And I ask because that's part of my six-figure mentoring idea is where can you go and live comfortably when that same amount of money would have you in poverty in the United States.
Exactly. And that's also something that I love to live by too. But it's really funny that you bring that up today of all days, because you're right. So China is one of the most difficult countries. You need a working visa or a business visa or one of the types of visas that they have here. And I'm still currently in China. You need one of the visas to actually be here. So because of coronavirus, if you're in the country, and it is not easy to get into the country, but if you're here, they will give you a visa if you're here for a purpose. But now I'm not here for a purpose. I haven't been for some time. So I actually will be leaving in a few weeks' time and going on another journey somewhere else, to a different part of the world that I've never been to before, and kind of changing it up, which is the lifestyle that I wanted when I left Canada. And it's funny, I always revert back to this. I remember right before I left, everybody was saying to me, oh yeah, I know people who've moved abroad or gone abroad or something abroad. And, they're always back in a year, maybe 2 years. And I just remember thinking in the back of my head, like, I mean, I hope that's not me. Like, unless something really goes wrong, I don't think I'll be back. That was never my intent, really. And I made that happen. China's not an easy place to establish yourself at the very beginning, especially. I know a lot of people who were here for a week or 2 weeks and left. A lot of people. And so I kind of knew I had the vision of the life that I wanted. And I knew it was gonna take a damn heck of a lot to get me off that path of, okay, that didn't work out. So I guess now I need to go home to Canada to what I know. So I was pretty determined.
And that is a biggie. That is a biggie. And now you went from teaching, and all of a sudden now you are an amazing platform internet marketer, businesswoman for people like me who did not grow up with the internet. And how did that occur?
Yes. Okay. So that is another story.
Oh,
There's so many stories, but this is actually one where I did find my passion. And I was like, you know what? This is something I've never really thought about, but I love doing this. So, due to coronavirus, I was locked out of China. It was over Chinese New Year. A lot of us weren't in the country, and a lot of Chinese weren't in the country either. So, a lot of people got locked out. So, I had to go home to Canada for about 9 or 10 months before I could come back to China. And that was a whole process in and of itself. But while I was in Canada, it really brought me back to the reason why I went to China. I feel like sometimes in life you can get caught up in, all the things around you and the big city and the life and even the job. And being back in my small town in Canada with my family, I really got to thinking, this is the lifestyle I was convincing myself that I wanted, but I actually deep down never really wanted. And I think I knew that, but I needed to be taken out of that place, taken out of China temporarily to come back to myself and to realize that. So, and honestly, I say now it was a very daunting 10 months in Canada. But now I look back on it and I'm like, wow, I would not be here on this path in this job on my own business if it weren't for me, if it weren't for coronavirus, and if it weren't for me being locked out of China and being stuck in a house with my family for 10 months. And so I always try to find the silver lining. I think for a lot of people, sometimes you can try to find that silver lining of different things that have happened in your life. And for me, coronavirus, there was definitely a silver lining to that. So I ended up coming back to China only for a year's time because the world was at this time really on lockdown, and I knew that I needed to get out of Canada once again for the second time. So I ended up coming back here, but this time I came back with the intent of I'm only going to be here for a year, and then kind of once things start to open up and things are better, then I will go somewhere else that isn't Canada, that isn't China, and that's exactly what I'm doing in a few weeks' time. But coronavirus really was that blessing in disguise. And while I was home, I actually started helping, and this is how the Simply Social, my business, it started with me helping friends and family who knew that I was home, knew that I was tech savvy, kind of knew who I was as a person, so they knew I could do these things, and they were asking for my help and my advice, and I was making websites and I was teaching things to a lot of my friends and family who, like you mentioned, didn't grow up with the internet, didn't grow up with TikTok and Instagram and Squarespace and all of these, thousands and thousands of platforms that
and
we have.
not only that, it puts them into total overwhelm.
Yes. Yes. And you know what? Sometimes it did, because at this point, it was not a business for me. The Simply Social was not invented. It was not a business. So a lot of the time I would start explaining it, and then I would do it for them myself, because and a small aspect of this is because for me, it was fun. Even now, one of my packages is I build the websites and kind of that back end aspect of business. And for me, I sit down at my computer and I'm like, this is so fun. I would love to spend, days on end making websites and all of these different aspects that I know some people maybe find it to be tedious or they don't know how to do it. But for me, I enjoy it and I love sitting down and doing that. So that was really something that I realized when I was at home stuck for coronavirus, that this is something I love to do. And this is where my passion lies, not teaching, not, any other aspect of a career or of life that I had ever experienced. That was what I liked doing. And I was helping quite a few people to understand it and to do it for them, and then to teach them how to go into their backend and how to update their website so that they don't always need me, because I'm not always going to be there. So that is kind of how the Simply Social was born. So really there was a lot due to coronavirus, which is kind of that silver lining, which is crazy to say, but true.
Well, it absolutely is. I mean, you have to, there's so much distress and anxiety and a lot of blame and shame about the coronavirus. I wasn't able to do my dream because of coronavirus. Well, there is always a silver lining. There is always a way. If you choose, if you make the determination to choose to look for it, sometimes it's hard to find, but for you, it wasn't all that hard to find. You recognized it right off the bat. And just like with me, people wanted to see me for my healing in person. And I'd say, it's snowy, it's rainy. Do you really want to take the chance on the road? Wouldn't you like to do it? Oh, no, you can't do it on the internet. Yeah, you can. And because of coronavirus, I now have a business that's on the internet, and I'm loving it. And exactly. you got to learn how to teach the first time around. So now you can teach your joy when people want to be taught, as you did with me. And I have a lot more to learn. I need you. And everyone listening, write down Nicole's contact information. It's all going to be down below here, but yeah, so you are really, our paths always lead us if we look for the good parts of it.
Exactly. And, I didn't really believe in everything happens for a reason. It's funny because my mother always has said this since I was a child. Everything happens for a reason. And I always thought, oh, that's stupid. That's just something that people say. But really, that point in my life made me honestly believe it, because I saw it in so many different aspects. And now, oh my gosh, it's something that I truly live by, is that there is a path and you might not see it now or ever, but whatever happens to you is meant to happen for a reason.
It all leads you. And sometimes you say, my gosh, why are all these bad things happening to me? But in truth, if you look at it, you recognize that they are educators, they are teachers, they are points that bring things to your attention that you can turn around and create something different. It is an opportunity. It absolutely is an opportunity to do something more with your life.
And just like any opportunity, you cannot see it or you cannot take action on it and it just be left there. But it's kind of up to you to actually take action on that and be able to see that and be able to turn that around for the positive. And that's not always an easy thing to do at times. Absolutely, it's not. But positive, negative, it's all there for a reason.
And now I think I know the answer, but just in case, why is it important for you to have an online business? I know why it's important to me. I mean, snow and all of that, convenience, loving it. But for you?
Good question. Great question. So I think for me, the online aspect and the business aspect are two different things. So when it comes to the online aspect, I love that because then I can live out the lifestyle that I want, the lifestyle that I help the people I work with achieve as well, because a lot of them want to work online as well. So the online aspect is such a blessing, really it is, because I can work with people from anywhere in the world. I'm not limited to, my city in China, which is where I am right now, and a lot of them wouldn't even be able to converse with me. So it really broadens the doors to the whole world and allows me to live the lifestyle that I want while helping other women, helping my clients live the lifestyle that they want as well through teaching them about this online world. And now when it comes to the business side, that is fulfilling in a whole nother way, because The transformation, I just finished with one of my clients the other day, and the transformation of where we were when we started to seeing, oh my gosh, seeing where she's at now. And she had so many ideas. And she said, and this was the most amazing part of it, she was like, I know what to do now. I know the next steps. I know the needle movers in my business because of us working together. And it's not only does she now know these social platforms and, you know, websites and all of these things that I teach, it's also the kind of the subliminal part of it as well, where she can now understand, okay, I need to do this. This is the next step, and prioritize and understand how to move forward in her business. Whereas a lot of the women that I work with were kind of just stuck before. But now, and this is what I always say, and this is why I love what I do, my goal is to get the women that I work with to feel confident and empowered that they know how to use all of these tools. They know how to show up online for their business after we have worked together. And so to see that in my clients, and I'm just thinking of this client because we finished together, I think yesterday, and just to see that transformation, it's so amazing. And it's just so fulfilling for me that they feel confident and they feel empowered. Yes, I know how to do this. I know the steps. I know what to do next. I know how to operate Instagram and email marketing and all of these other platforms that we go over, because I really handhold, go over. That's why it's not a course. It is a one-to-one. And I don't plan on offering courses right now, anytime in the future, because I like to meet everyone where they are and then build from that. So I guess that's the long answer to your question, is that the online part and the business part are two separate aspects for me that come together as one beautifully.
Oh, beautifully stated. Beautiful. And you can do this from anywhere in the world, as you said. You know, right now we're recording this at 10 a.m. Eastern time, and here is Nicole. I don't know what time it is in China, but she is she is 10 p.m. So she is bright and shiny, and you can see. And by the way, do come over to our YouTube channel and be sure to subscribe and like and make comments. We always love the comments, but I love what you're doing. And I love the fact that your client that you just finished with now has all the tools, but sometimes those tools are like, okay, I got them. I forgot them. Yes. And they have you as a resource to come back to, which is wonderful.
Yes. And, you know, that's just human nature, is you're not going to remember everything that you consume. We go over it, you know, once, twice together, it's all recorded. So they have the resources, but I never expect them to remember everything that we've talked about, because we go over a lot in our 9 weeks together. So I do, and that's why I do have different resources. So I have the recordings of all the calls, because I hop on my phone and I start screen sharing and showing them things. It's not just all talk. So I want them to be able to go back and see that again. I also have recordings that are in my Notion account. I love Notion. I live by Notion, the note-taking app.
I don't know Notion. Tell us.
Yeah, it's an amazing, it's a note-taking app, but it's so much more than that. I really can't even explain everything it does. You can build honestly anything: calendar systems, content planning systems. It's limitless what you can do, and you can share certain pages with anyone, or certain emails, and you can share one page, or you have different diaries. You can share a diary, or there's a lot to it. I can't really go and explain all of it right now, but really what it is and how I use it in my business is that I have recorded videos, so that if they ever need to see, for example, how to use a specific email marketing platform, well, then the ones that I discuss in my program are in there so that I can share that with them. They can go through, and then I do a walkthrough. So I have that for really all of the main platforms as a resource for them. So when we are finished working together, they have that essentially forever. They'll get the hang of it at some point, but until they do, they have that as a resource. And then I also have accountability calls as well once a month that I offer when we are finished working together, so that they can A, stay accountable to what we have talked about, and then B, that they can also ask me any questions that have come up. I tell them, take notes of where you have questions, and then on our next call, if they do choose to go forward with that, then they have the notes right there. They can ask me, maybe they want to start using a new platform for group communication or something like that within their business. Then we can go dive right into that on that call. So really it's tailored to them. But like you said, if they forget, if they don't know what to do next, maybe they've advanced on to that next level and they're ready to learn more, then we can kind of dive into some of those basics on those calls. So I'm really big in constant support. I don't ever, and this is again, maybe why I'm not a huge fan of courses, because I want them to feel supported even when we are finished working together, because I really believe that that is how you are going to continue leveling up in your business.
Totally agree. And, we're coming to the end of our time here, but I really appreciate your time. And did I understand that you were making an offer of some kind for our listeners?
Yes. So actually, I do have my amazing offer that is the 9-week coaching program that many of my clients have got amazing results from. The one that I was speaking about, who we finished yesterday, had gone through this program, and just the changes were amazing, that transformation. But so that is the 9-week program that I offer, and I actually offer it in combination. I have an in-house business and marketing coach as well. So she kind of helps with the business, marketing, and the lifestyle aspect of business as well. So it's 2 sessions with her, and then the rest of the sessions with myself. And we really integrate well, because I am a lot more of that back end, the tech, the how to do things. I hop on my phone, I hop on my screen share, and I actually show you how to do it. Whereas she gets you thinking more about the business side and the lifestyle that you want. So we really work together amazingly. So I do have, that is the signature offer that I have. And so I would love to actually offer that for your listeners at a 20% discount as well. They can head to my website, thesimplysocial.com, and find out more information there. I have a ton of information about the services that I offer. So I would be happy to offer them 20% off of that package as well, if they are interested, if they feel like it's something they could benefit from. Because I also don't ever want to work with somebody who I don't think can either get the results, or perhaps they are too advanced and they already know a lot of the things that I will teach them. So I want to always make sure that not only is it a good fit for myself, but that it's a good fit for them, and they are going to get the most out of what we do together.
I love that. Because it is all about giving from the heart, and you can hear her energy, and she is giving from the heart, no question about it. And come on over to YouTube, and yeah, you can see this lady is amazing. The simplysocial.com is the place to go to contact. Is that the best way to contact you, Nicole?
Yes. So that's my website, or I'm always hanging out on Facebook or Instagram. On Instagram, it's at the Simply Social _, Facebook at the Simply Social. I am always on those platforms, maybe too much sometimes, but that also comes into play with my business and always learning new things and the new tips and tricks that come out as well. So it's always fun for me, but you can definitely reach out to me on the website or on my Facebook or Instagram.
Oh, one last question here before we go, because it just clicked right now, as this is being recorded. Yesterday, Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp all went down. And a lot of businesses rely totally, they have their websites on Facebook, and they rely totally on Facebook and Instagram. I am wondering, did you have another resources so somebody's business wouldn't go down if the big platforms were not working?
Great question. It's funny because a lot of people have reached out to me going, "Oh my gosh, were you affected?" And I'm like, "No, I was asleep. It didn't affect me. I woke up and it was up and it was great." So I guess the benefits of living on the other side of the world. But great question. And I was just speaking to another client actually about this and the importance of owning the clients and owning the material and the people who consume that material, owning it, because you can't own your Instagram. You can't own your Facebook. At any second, it could go down. It could be taken away from you. You could get locked out. There's an indefinite amount of things that could happen. Not saying they will, but they could. And so you kind of want to prepare for that. And so I always advocate to hold your own contacts, have an email list, build an email list, whether even if you're networking in person, make sure to collect those emails. And then you don't even have to ever email them. Just have those resources documented somewhere online. Not saying don't email them, because of course you want to market out to them if possible, but you want to document everything somewhere and keep an organized system. But also in terms of that, I always advocate for email marketing. So that's something that I also talk about a lot in my program, because there are so many different platforms that you can use for email marketing. And I actually was just telling Karen before we started recording here that I came out with my own podcast very recently, announced it today. And my second episode is thank you. My second episode is all about email marketing. And it kind of walks through, in my experience, the top 4 platforms that are the most popular, ranging from free to paid. And then my personal favorite, I have a favorite by far, easy favorite. But if you want,
we have to listen to the podcast to get it. Huh?
Yes.
Yeah. And what's your podcast called?
It's called Quitting Corporate. It's by Nicole of the Simply Social. So there's 2 Quitting Corporate podcasts, but it's by Nicole. So if you type into Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all of those good podcast platforms, Quitting Corporate, you'll find me there. And it's just starting up. So it's a very exciting time, but that's all about email marketing and my personal favorites.
Oh, wonderful. I can't wait to listen to that. That's great. I love it. I love it. So I just love having you on this podcast. Thank you so much for joining me at 10 o'clock. Well, now it's about 11:15 at night.
Oh my gosh, it's all good. It's been so much fun.
And the energy that this woman hands out is just awe-inspiring. It creates that awesomeness that Awesome Life is all about. And I love hanging with her. If you are one of those people who really need somebody who can speak to you in your language, I mean, she's also an old soul for those people that understand old souls. So she understands me. And I'll tell you, not a whole lot of people understand me. So I'm so grateful to know Nicole and have her on my list of availability for all tech things. Do be sure to call her. All of her contact information and her URLs are listed down below here. Be sure to like this podcast and go on over to our YouTube channel and like and subscribe to my YouTube channel for other conversations that are taking place. Thank you so much, Nicole. I always love hanging out with you, and I can't wait until the next time.
Thank you so much, Karen. Me as well. Bye.
Bye-bye.